Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 14 here on BallySpring with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, as usual, we're up here at our main farm, our sheep farm. As you can see, we have moved through to the end of December. I just carried on from November into December. We did not a single contract in November, and of course, there were none to do in December. And I think we're at the point where we won't be doing any contracts unless it's something very interesting, because that $567,000 is all farm income from November and December. And I haven't even sold the milk off in December yet. That's still sitting there, and we'll see why that is here in a little bit. So this episode is just going to be a wrap up for the year, cover off what has changed and well, what's going to change, and so hopefully be a little bit shorter episode. Now, as usual, Hannah, our dog, is nowhere to be seen. Although I can assure you she does exist. I've seen her several times. And I did a little test one time when she was running around here in this field. I filled her food bowl, and you know that what I'm used to is they come running as soon as you fill that up from wherever they are. And she just wasn't fussed about it. She just totally ignored it. And every time I come up here, I do fill it up and it empties out. And I don't need to log off for that to happen. So I don't know if that's just on a timer or if that means she does show up. I'm not sure, but I can assure you she exists. But the chances of you seeing them, or her, I should say, when we're recording, are pretty slim just due to Murphy's Law. But she is around, and I've seen her a long way. Like I've seen her down at our cow farm, so she wanders a long ways. But the only thing change I have to report here is I added the silo in that matches the buy point from Gaming Joy. Now, because we have multi-fruit silos on here, I really didn't need to do this, but this was my original intention. I wanted to have the silo version to store some fertilizer that we would use up here. So I put it in. I put one trailer load, 13,000 liters of fertilizer in. I was going to add more, and then I decided, oop, I don't want to do that just right now. And again, we'll go into that here in just a little bit as to why. But other than that, there's nothing else to report up here. So let's head down to our new production area. So I'll see you down there. Well, we're just pulling in here to where we logged the trees off, just waiting for the pedestrian to get out of the road. So this is where we were logging when I left you. And as you can see, all the loggable trees are gone. I left all the ugly ones to log. Not ugly to look at, but ugly to log. They're still here. And I did put in 4 greenhouses. And around over here, I added the Omatana potato production. And I did put a few decorative items around, but I didn't do too much because I didn't think I was finished with this area down here. You can see there's a pile of logs still sitting here. I filled the sawmill up, and these were left over. And in true Murphy fashion, I left them right in their way because I've decided I'd like to put a little parking area there and some decorative cars, so I've got to move those at some point. We'll head up to the sawmill and we'll talk a little bit more about it here in a little bit. Now I left a little gap here between the hedge and the greenhouses thinking I'd put some decorative trees back in, but in landscaping mode I'm not able to add them because there's too many trees on the map. So I think there might be enough room. I might get the tree planter and see if I can actually plant some trees in there at some point. But that's a plan for another day. Now, we are going to add another greenhouse, and let me explain why. And in order to do that, we need to take a look at the production menu. So let's go there now. Well, since we're at the map here, let's take a quick look at that because there may be some folks that don't realize where we're actually located on the map. So this is the sheep farm here where we started out, and we simply came down the driveway and then followed along this road and turned in here. This is our production area. This is our cow farm. So you can see we're kind of located almost smack dab in the middle between the cow farm and the sheep farm, fairly close to the lake. So that's where our production is on the map. So let's take a look at our productions. Well, this is a re-record of an earlier segment I did. I got thinking about it. I just wasn't happy with how long it was. So I'm actually recording this just after we put the milk into our bottled milk factory. So if you're watching this version, there is will be foreshadowing for you. Uh, anyways, this is the section where I want to talk about productions. And what I want to highlight here is we are going to change our report card. Up until this point, the critical path for us has been money. And I wanted to show where the money was coming from. But now all our money is coming from the farm. We're not doing any productions, not running around doing collectibles or any of that kind of stuff. All the money we're getting is from our previous efforts on the farm, and that's just going to do nothing but grow. But what we do need to do is meet the other targets for the challenge now, and that's regarding productions. So if we look at the dairy here, because it's an easy one to start with, um, what we need to do is we need to make every recipe in the production. So if we look at our dairy, sure enough, we're doing that. And we need to make enough to fill the outgoing storage. So this particular dairy has been running since mid-September, and you can see our outgoing storage is half full. So what's this? We're in December, so that's 2.5 months. We got 3.5 years left. Milk and sugar are no issue for us for incoming materials. So on our spreadsheet, I will mark off the dairy inputs being done and the dairy outputs being done because there's no doubt. Now, other productions like the biogas plant, we have had it running for quite some time, but I have had all of the digestate going to distributing to our fertilizer production. So I have no idea how much digestate it takes to fill the output. So what I have now done is put it on storing, and we'll leave it on there for a month or two and see if we can make a call on that. Now, if it looks like we're going to make enough, and we have to keep in mind we've already made, or it's been running for over 6 months. So we've already made a pile of digestate, so we can factor that in. But if we're going to make it, we'll mark it as a green. If we aren't going to make it, but we've had the running full time, we've done the best we could, what I'll do is I'll just mark it with an orange. Of course, any of the ones that we don't make, I'll mark with a red as a fail on our tracking spreadsheet. So I'm going to do that for every one of these productions. But there are a couple that we're going to have some problems with. Most we're in good shape with, but these darn greenhouses we put in are going to cause us some problems. Because if we look at the two that are really problematic, the lettuce and the cotton, it would take over 7 years of continuous production for those two crops to fill the outgoing storage bar. So what I've decided is that for each group, because they're grown in groups, there's the grain group, the fruit and veg group, and on and off and so forth. I'm going to take the crop that has the highest output. So if we look at the grain, for example, is wheat. So as long as we fill the wheat one up, we're going to give us a check for this group because the incoming recipes, no matter what we make, are all the same. So what I've done is I've gone and calculated how many months of production we need for each group, and I'm going to put that in our spreadsheet. And I'm going to track how many months of production we've done. So to facilitate that, it means I can only change productions once at the beginning of the month or right at the end of the previous month, as the case may be. And then I have to leave it on there for the rest of the month. For the outputs, I can do what I want. I can sell them, distribute them, whatever, but I've got to make those many months worth of that particular product. So an easy one, let's take the root crops. I only need to produce root crops for 8 months. So I need 8 months of production in a greenhouse. What I can't do is take well, we have 5 greenhouses now. where this is getting shoveled in, we only have 4, but we've got 5 now. Uh, I can't put all 5 greenhouses doing sugar beets and then count that as 5 months. That's only 1 month. So if that makes sense. So it's got to be 5 months, or sorry, 8 months of production in a greenhouse. Doesn't have to be the same greenhouse, but it has to be a greenhouse. But I can't do any parallel processing, if you like, if that makes sense. So once we've completed that, like once we've got 8 months of production on sugar beets, we can mark that off as complete, and we never have to do them again if we don't want to. So that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to, future farmer Murphy is going to be coming up here shortly, and he's going to have the new spreadsheet, and he can go over it in a little more details. But that's what I wanted to highlight here. The last one we're going to probably have problems with, or potentially could have, is too early to tell, is our potato production here. You can see it's been running for a little bit. Now, the incoming recipes are not going to be a problem. The only one we're not making right now is pig food, and that's because of a wee mistake Farmer Murphy made. When I looked at, well, here, it's right below us. When I looked at these, I thought it made barley, but it's oats, sorghum, and wheat, not barley. So we're short barley, but we have it in, so we'll be able to add it soon enough. But the sorghum and the wheat, we can actually feed directly to the pigs if we have to, so not a problem. The only output I know is not going to be an issue is the pig food, because we are going to plant some potatoes and some sugar beets. And so we'll have lots of potatoes, and we'll make sure we have sorghum and barley and soybean, either from greenhouses or crop fields, whatever we need to do. And we'll be making, a swack of pig food here. But the premium potatoes and French fries and sugar, not so sure. So I've got these ones. We're saving them up for now. We'll just see how they go. It looks like they moved the needle a little bit. The sugar one I have to put on distributing. I can't sit on it, or else I'm going to have to buy sugar. So we'll just kind of clump those 3 together. Or maybe I'll do testing off. That's maybe what I'll do, is I'll just do a test specifically on the sugar, or maybe all 3, whatever. If I do something offline, I'll let you know. But anyways, that's what I wanted to say. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense, and it'll make more sense when future Farmer Murphy comes up here in a little bit and goes over the new spreadsheet. So, all right, now it'll be interesting to see if I stick this one in or the old one. So back to our program. Well, I won't mention that past Farmer Murphy forgot about me again, but I will tell you that he left me no time. The episode is already running long, so I'm going to blast through this as fast as I can. Apologies for that. Blame past Farmer Murphy. So starting on the top left there, that's a block that just shows where we're at time-wise for the challenge. So we're in month 17 out of a total of 60. And then off to the right, that block lists all the custom crops we need to plant and harvest. Of course, none of those are marked off yet because we haven't completed any of that yet. Then moving down to the left, we have the animal block. And in there, I've recorded we were at 161 out of 1,500 cows, 40 out of 2,000 pigs, 234 out of 1,000 sheep. Also in there, I've calculated what we have for feed on hand for each animal. So for cows, we have 9.8 months or 10 months worth of feed. That's factoring in what we need for the BGA as well. Then we're at 13 months for the pigs and 15 months for the sheep. Below that are all our productions. Starting with the greenhouses, I've marked off that we've done the water and manure recipe. They're both running. I have confirmed that it does take additional inputs with both of them running, but it doesn't give us any additional outputs, unfortunately. So at some point, I'll turn that water one off. Now, as far as the outputs go, I've calculated how many months we need to run each particular category to fill the highest yielding crop, as I mentioned in the episode. So for wheat, we're at 28 months. Strawberries, we need to run 21 months. Corn, 28 months. Canola, 32 months. And sugar beet, or root crop 1, 8 months. So currently we have run wheat for a month, corn for a month, and sugar beet for a month. I might separate those numbers out a little bit. I see here they're pretty hard to discern. So I will track that every time we do a update, and I'm kind of thinking we'll do this quarterly. Moving below that, we have the potato production, and there again I've marked off everything that we've run on the input side. We're just missing barley, and none of the outputs have been satisfied yet. Below that we have the tailor, and of course I've marked off the fabric. That's the only incoming product, but the outputs still to be determined. Moving over to the right and up, I've got the dairy and the farm dairy. Now those are all marked off. We've completed everything we need to with those, so we could actually shut those down if we wanted. I'm not going to, of course, but we have met all the criteria for that. Below that, we have the spinnery, and everything is marked off on it. Now when I started this sheet, I only had the one spinnery, but obviously we have the two. But I've left those completely... or left those marked as complete, I should say. I did the calculations. We only need to run a greenhouse for, rounded up to 6 months, to provide enough cotton to fill the fabric output storage. And cotton is in the same category as corn, and we need to run it for 28 months. So obviously that will be done. We have actually filled it up once, but on wool on our first spinnery, but we're not going to have any issue there. Then to the right of that is the fertilizer production. Incoming is only digestate. That's marked off. Fertilizer to be determined. The bottled milk factory, the same thing. Moving down to the left again. We've done... There's only one input, but the output's not been determined. Sawmill to the right of that, same deal there. And then lastly, on the bottom in the BGA, we've done silage, slurry, and manure. We haven't done, well, you saw we just started the cut sugar beet, and the digestate output is to be determined. So we need to get everything in here marked in green. We're doing not too bad, I suppose, but we've got a long ways to go yet. But I'll leave you there. If you have any comments as to the color scheme, I tried to make it so it would be relatively visible, because I know probably some of you are watching this on your phone. So if you have any comments in that regard, let me know. And like I said, this will probably only be done quarterly. And so we'll see you in 3 months with the next one. Talk to you later. Hopefully that wasn't too dry. I'll leave a little bit more of the finer details for future farmer movie to go over when we're looking at the spreadsheet. But you know, that was kind of dry, but just had to get through it. Now I have put our sugar beets here on storing. As you can see, we have a few pallets. That's to throw in our BGA, because we have a few months worth of sugar beets for sugar production already in our potato processing one. Now I looked at all the pig food productions I could find, and the problem was they had too many darn incoming recipes, where this one's only got the one recipe, and it makes sugar, so that's a bonus, because like most of the other ones don't, and we definitely can use the sugar. So I know I've used it a few times. I used it something, well, the bigger version of this on Comston, and I'm using it on Bloomfield. But it's just about perfect for our what we need here. Like I said, the only concern is how much outgoing product it holds, but the jury's still out on that one. Whew. Wow, we made it through that. Oh, but we are going to put that extra greenhouse in. So let's do that. That's finally something a little exciting. Whoops, not animals, productions, greenhouses. And we're going to stick one more of these big guys in. And I think what we'll do, which one? This one is the right-hand side from the front. Yep. No, we want the left. Yeah, left-hand side. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to stick it in just... actually, if we put snapping on, it should line up. We'll just stick it in right about kind of try and keep it lined up right about here. Give us a little room if we should be okay. I don't. It was pretty flat. I don't think it needed to do much landscaping. I think we're going to be fine. These two, I actually had intended to always have these on distributing these two, and that's why I put the potatoes in there. And then it turns out, oh, I needed some sugar beets, so these could be a little tricky to get out of there, but you can actually pick them up in this direction with the telehandler, so that's what I'll do. I'll landscape this in, or do a little painting, and we'll get this one filled up, and we'll start running some strawberries. Now, I think what I'm going to do with that veg one with strawberries and that, I'm just going to put it directly onto selling. I just don't want to deal with loading up a bunch of pallets, so we'll just sell that off. Where should we go to next? Oh, let's go to the cow farm, so I'll meet you there. All right. Couple things I wanted to mention here. We are buying straw now because we have run out of straw. We're still feeding the loose silage for both the cows and the BGA, but we're down to, I think it's 100,000 liters now, so another day or so and we'll be done. But I found out something interesting. As you can see, before we go there, let's look. Cows need to be mucked out, full of manure. And if we come over here, oh, we don't need to start that up, but we will eventually, I guess. If we look, this is output of our silo. If we scroll through here, look at that. There happens to be 10,000 liters of manure in here. What a coincidence that that happens to be what is in the cow pen. And if we load this up here, we'll just wait for it to finish here. Just about done. Now look here. The manure's gone from our cow pen. Now there's no extra, once it hits 10,000 in the cow pen, any overflow then goes on to our manure heap there. So it doesn't go into the silo, but if we can pick that up out of the silo. Now I don't know if that was an intentional by the map maker or unintentional. I don't know. I know it's not very realistic, but neither is running over our cows with a telehandler. So it was a case of pick your poison. That's the poison I'm picking because it's just so much easier. So I'll take that off to the biogas plant off camera. I wanted to show you that. Let's head up. We'll stop at the sawmill quick. We'll just see if we can get rid of any of those logs sitting on the input. And then let's head up to the where the spinnery is. So I will meet you at the sawmill. Okay, here we are at the sawmill. Interesting. There were about 5 logs sitting here, something like that. I thought I'd have to come up here and hit the icon again, you know, like when you're unloading, but it seems to be chewing them away, you know, like it does at other typical productions. So we don't need to worry about that. I guess that's why it looks 100% full. There is a carpentry up here. This is a carpentry, but it's simply a wood sell point, so it's not a production or anything we need to worry about. If we look at the map here, we are, where are we? Here's the shop road. That's the cow farm, and it's just pretty much out east, straight east of the shop. There is the sawmill right there. Now we're going to head up and around this way, and we're going to go to this spinnery. And actually, before we do that, what we need to do, oops, that's not, oh, sorry, that's the wrong spot. That's the spot I'm looking for. Right there, that's the spinnery. Let's buy that, because we're going to put some additional productions in there. So I'll meet you up at the spinnery. Well, here we are up at the spinnery, and you can see there's now a bit of a kind of a production area up here, and we're going to make use of that. I want to put another spinnery up here, and a tailor shop. So we're definitely going to put the tailor shop in now. You know what? We can actually put both in. I do have, what, 3 pallets of wool? Um, if I leave the 2 greenhouses that are running cotton going for the next month as well, yeah, we should be able to put it in and get that going. So let's put in another spinnery and a tailor. So we want productions, factories, and tailor shop right there. Now, we are going to want to pick these, or should we put them on selling? Well, we'll leave it so we can get to them anyways, because they spawn out back up here. So I'd say let's kind of line it up with something like so should work. I don't see why not. Yeah. And now I do want to add another. Did he pass? Is it back here? Where is the spinnery? Not that one. Not the one that matches. Now I did think about putting a carpentry in for selling our planks, but we're just going to sell the planks because everything I put in that uses those planks, I have to do a bunch of other inputs or other recipes. So right now, we're just going to leave it as is. We can scooch this down a little bit more here. Maybe even a little bit. That darn light's a bit in the way. I think that should work. Now, it only takes one spinnery to... Yeah, actually, I think one spinnery keeps 2 tailor shops going is the way it goes. But we're not going to bother. We'll just sell the whatever fabric we don't use in the tailor shop. We'll just sell off. Now, there is one more production I came across, and I wanted to add, and I don't know if I should put it up here. Let's see how it would fit. Is that it? It's a bottled milk factory. And we got lots of milk. That wasn't it. Nope. Okay, where are you? Oh, I must have missed it, because that's all the Omatana stuff. I don't know if it would be better off up here or down where our... that's not it. Did I forget to turn it on? I must have. All right, just hang on. I'll fix that. I'll be right back. That was it. I had forgotten to turn it on. But before I forget, and we get into that, let's turn these on here. And we can take this palette of fabric and throw it in here. Can get going. And I had my Wheaties today, so I can carry these by hand. We'll chuck these in here, and that'll get that going. I'm not going to have an abundance of wool, but we should have enough to keep them both going. Oops, that's a little jittery. There we go. And the cotton will be distributing to them. I'll just keep... whoops, how come I'm not picking that one up? Oh. Don't know what was going on there. It'll distribute to both of them. And I just bring the wool up by hand, obviously. That should get all of that be going. Anyways, I was thinking of putting this Um, production now. Oops, got it turned on. Where are you hiding? Ah, oh, that's the regular dairy. There it is. And we could put that up here. I mean, there's enough room. But you know what I was thinking? Why not put in a second tailor shop? So we could have one spinnery feeding both tailor shops and the other spinnery just selling the fabric. Maximize what we make. But I won't do that right now. But in some point, I think I will. So I think we'll put our new bottling plant down by the greenhouses. Unfortunately, there is just no room up at the dairy area. That would have been ideal, but yeah, just not possible. So I'll meet you back down at the greenhouse production area and we'll get that put in there. So we'll see you down there. Well, there's where I decided to put it. It's a fairly big facility, actually. Took up a fair bit of room, but it actually doesn't fit too bad there with the shape of it and coming down our drive. I'll do a little landscaping around it and maybe probably put some decoration in, but it works there. Now, if we take a look at this in the production menu, you can see it does 24,000 liters of milk a month. That's not too bad. Now, I thought I read that it held 10,000 liters incoming, but at 24,000 liters a month, I'm suspecting that I misread that and it was 100,000. But you know what? We won't guess. I'll go grab what milk we have and we'll throw it in here. So I'll get that done and I'll catch up with you then. Well, there we go. I brought our milk here. If we take a look, now I did top up our farm production. It only holds a month's worth of milk. Basically, it empties itself in a month. So I topped it up for next month. And then I bought the remainder milk here, 29,000 liters. Now it's going to go through 24,000 in a month. So that's a month's worth as well. As you can see, it looks like it does hold 100,000 liters. It'll probably hold 100,000 on the output side as well. So we'll let that chug away and we'll check it next month, but no issues there. I'm going to take and put this away. And the last thing I want to do is get some cut sugar beets into the BGA. So I will meet you at the store. See you there. All right, we're down here at the store and I'll show you what I like to use for cutting sugar beets. It's under trailers and it is right there. The Beet Ninja works excellent. So we'll buy that. It's just I think it's a Flegel pusher trailer modified with a cutter attachment on the rear. So that's my go-to. I've used it a fair bit. So we'll head off to the pig farm where we have some, I think it's around 27,000 liters of sugar beets, and take them to the BGA. Now, I forgot to mention when I was at the cow farm, yeah, maybe we'll go this way. I did use all the slurry. I was able to get all but 2 of our fields done. So that was really good. There was 2 of our larger fields up near the sheep farm I had to leave, and I was using the larger Veltra to do that with, and even on those, even though I was using the bigger tractor on those hills, it really struggled on some of them. So if we get the opportunity, we might buy, there is one more larger Veltra yet, and it has 400 horsepower. We may get that for doing our slurry, because I was down to under 5 kilometers an hour dragging that slurry tanker up the hills. Wasn't so bad when it got started to get empty, but when it was full, it was bad. I did check the sell point, and our Sell Everything will take the bottled milk, but I think we're just going to put it on selling. Now I know there. I've heard 20%, 40% hit when you do that, but the bottled milk sells for over 3,000 per thousand. So even at a 40% hit, we're still be making better money than we would selling the raw milk. And the same, especially for the greenhouse for the vegetables, because the most of the inputs don't cost us anything. The only thing we have to buy is the seed. So I just don't want to spend all my time delivering pallets. So I'll just put that on selling. The other dairy stuff, I may deliver what we've already produced, just because I've got some pallets sitting out there anyways I need to pick up. But my inclination is just put it all on selling to make life easy, because I think money wise we're going to be doing okay. Now let's find our sugar beets here. Right there, yeah, just over 27,000 liters. Now, one greenhouse will produce, I think it was just over 12,000 liters of sugar beets. We need about, I think it was 2,400, between 2,400 and 3,000, can't remember exactly now, every month for sugar. And like I said, I have a few months built up. So that's what we got to work with, about 10,000 liters a month. Now I'm going to guess that BGA uses more than that. We've got this head start here of 27,000 liters, but one greenhouse is not going to keep up. And I don't think really at this point I can afford to have two greenhouses dedicated to it. Two might do it. I was planning on putting sugar beets in anyways down here. I'll show you the field when we go out. And I think we'll have to put in potatoes as well. In the short term, the greenhouse can keep up, but in the long term, when we start making pig food, it's not going to. So we're going to need a potato field too, I'm pretty sure. So this one right ahead of me here to the left, as you may recall, is where I was going to fire in some sugar beets. It's an arable field. I don't know if we'll turn one of these grass fields we have into an arable field, but somewhere in this kind of area is where I'll probably put the potato field, because my plan is, so I can go back in the cab for this. My plan is to get a bigger harvester and just leave it here and not have to transport it around the map very far. So I'm thinking we'll need a potato field and a sugar beet field. Now I often turn traffic off when I'm coming to the pig farm, because there's not a lot of room on this road, and if I meet somebody, it can get a little dicey, especially if it's any kind of larger vehicle, and depending what I'm moving down the road. Yeah, I've had a few wrecks, so I found sometimes it's easier just turn the darn traffic off when I'm coming down here. I don't remember it being an issue on the other map, so I'm not sure traffic went down there. But also, on the other map, I didn't have a reason to go up and down that road quite as much. Now I turned the help menu on because I know there is a trick to getting this. Excuse me, coughing. I know there is a trick to getting this thing to unload. I just can't remember what it is. So we'll need the help menu when we get to the BGA. Ah, there's a cop car. See a lot of them around the village here. Must be a high crime rate area. I always seem to be running around down here with their sirens a wailing. Now, I forgot to leave a specific point for future Farmer Murphy, so you've probably already heard from him, and his nose will be out of joint. Oh yeah, see? You have to turn something on here. That was it. Tip side. Alright, there she goes. I believe when it should have, we can see it here. Oh no, it doesn't really show it. But I think when the trailer's like just about empty, you can actually see a cutter bar in there. Anyways, let's check. Oops. How many liters that took? Around 10, I think it was. Oh, 9,000. So that leaves us enough sugar beets in the trailer to fill it from nothing twice. So it's all up to how fast it actually goes through it. By the time I see you next time, we'll know. I can report back on that. But you know what? I think that's it for this episode. I do have a little bit of cleanup to do, some landscaping and that. But really right now it's just mostly looking after the animals and keeping the BGA topped up. So I will leave you there. If you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, why don't you hit that old subscribe button, and don't forget about the like and notification bells as well. If you want to leave a comment, that'll be just fine. But for this episode, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.